Welcome to the LOCOPIAS workshop. My name is Abraham. Um, thanks. So I will be doing the LOCOPIAS workshop. It's not really hands-on workshop. I think most of you, not the people on the ship who actually work with LOCOPIAS. So it's more like the new features and some, that show what we have and what is available. There is some overlap with the morning, and I will just show how it works instead of what has been developed. And please interrupt if you have questions, because there are a lot of small features and things I'll go over briefly, but if it's interesting to you, I can elaborate a bit more. So yeah, let's have it interactive, and feel free to ask and interrupt me. There would have been a standing booth so I could work on my laptop, but it's not here yet, so I will sit down. It's a bit weird, but I will do the, I don't have everything in PowerPoint, so I will just show live in LOCOPIAS what is available, so I need to work with my mouse, etc. So we will switch to the demo version of we use the most. It's the Morgenstund vessel. It's available for all demonstration. Also, if you need to show something to your clients, etc., we have it available for everyone. And also, if you like to test new features, just give us a call, and we have these available for download. I will go over all the modules and the new features in this LOCOPIAS version, and then at the end I have some other features that are not available in this LOCOPIAS version. But I will firstly go through all the modules in this LOCOPIAS. And I will start with all the loading tools that you see on the top of the screen. And then at the end there are some tricks and features in the main screen, and output, etc. So first we have the tank module. It's quite straightforward, mostly. One thing that is quite a topic or these days is more interfacing with other packages, and here's a sensor reading button, and it can read data from all other kind of systems. It's really nice to have that you, as a user, don't have to type all data and have mismatches, etc. So that's quite simple. Big development last year is the new container module. It's completely redesigned from scratch. As Herbert already told, it's a really new way of thinking. Before, we defined the slots where the container could be positioned, and that was really fixed. Now we define the castings on the deck or on the tank top, and the program derives. Perfect. It's a bit aesthetical. So now the program automatically calculates where the container can be positioned. It checks the geometry, also if a container is extra wide or extra high or longer than standard. It will do all the checks for you, and then it's basically has no limits. You can select any type of container, any length, for example 41 feet, high cube, and then for example extra wide, and then when I want to load new container, I'm now below deck, as you can see with the red crosshairs. When I go above deck, you see the yellow positions are available, and I can load some containers here. I could even say I want to place containers freely. For example, for inland ships, they don't have castings on the deck, so you can just put them anywhere where there are no obstructions. So yeah, this makes it really flexible, and we have some clients who, especially we work with A2B, who still with all the all the weird shapes and containers. Now the program can do anything that is available. Within the container module, there are some extra tools. First thing I like to mention is the IMGG. So it's the code on dangerous goods, and the software can check if the containers with dangerous goods are separated from each other with the required distance. I already prepared an example, so I will check. It will give a list of containers with dangerous goods, and it will say if it's okay or not. In this case, this segregation is invalid, and it will also show you what is the problem. You see the red area. In that area, the container with the other substance cannot be placed. So in this case, the containers are too close to each other. That will help the user to maybe move the container one place aside or things like that. And it can be a long list, of course, and all kinds of checks and extra messages. In this case, there are no special messages, but sometimes there is even information that the software can't check, but then the user can read the message. So he would still need to go through the list to see if all is okay, but most will be checked by the software itself. And then on the area that is forbidden, you see already here that the forward part is a bit shorter than the aft part. I would like to go to my presentation how that works. So in the dangerous IMDG, you have a container, the orange one. It contains the substance, and then there's a standard distance of one 20 feet container forward afterward and to the sides. And then you will check if there are containers inside that area, because if, for example, the container catches fire, then the containers in that area are affected almost immediately. So, for example, the green container is partially in that area, so then you have to include that container in that zone, and then you connect all the outer points like with the red shape, and that is then the final forbidden area. We noticed some other software don't include all the steps, or at the final shape they will just make a rectangle around it instead of the the more complex with the the more compressed area. So if you have discussions about this, that could be the origin of this. The IMDG, like been told in the morning, is using a database from Access Technologies. And that's the companies who are really experts on the IMDG code. So we verified this even twice if we had this correct, and this is really the correct interpretation. But yeah, there are some other experiences in this sense.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
First, you said it is from an external database. So as a ship's owner, you have to have a contract as well with the external database, or you use it inside LOCOPIAS with external database?
Both. There's a yearly fee to use the database from Access Technologies. And then if that fee has been paid, then LOCOPIAS can use this database.
Okay. And then in the presentation this morning, it was showed the DNV standard for what was allowed or not allowed for loading in the G cargo. But you use as well the data from the ships itself, or only from DNV? Because you have the difference, you have an EMDG certificate on board, which is well some, I don't know how to say.
The document of compliance. We put that in LOCOPIAS, and that will be checked as well. So it will say on deck you can load these types, and below deck these types, and that will be verified.
Third question, because I'm from NHL Stende, my team Institute Willem.
Yeah.
So we are the end user of the program.
Yeah.
Is it in the example tomorrow is this feature available with the dangerous cargo?
Yeah, in the demo version, you can only check substances that end on 5.
Okay.
So you will see in my example as well, it checks 2615 against 1515. So if you want to play around, use substances that end of 5, and
But as we now it's really typical for us, if we pay as well as an institute a fee, then we can get a full function on this demo version.
That's possible, yeah. Any other questions on IMDG? Okay. Then I will continue to Buckley. It has also already been explained a bit this morning. It's the industry standard for sending data to ships and to terminals, etc. But it's a bit of a crappy system yeah, it basically says the container is in bay 12, for example. But yeah, if you have, for example, 45-feet container, I can show you. You can already see option like the container can have its end sticking out on one side if it's positioned on a 40 feet, or on two sides, or on the other side. So it basically has three positions where it can be put in bay 12. So and Buckley doesn't say where it needs to be positioned. So we in discussion with A to B again, we A to B helped us a lot with this new development. They are one of the first clients, and that helps to have feedback from the users. And this is one of the issues. Yeah, we can't help that the industry standard is a bit crappy, but we can. Yeah, finally we had a solution that the user can say, well, in bay 12 we know every time we want to have these containers sticking out to the front, and then the program knows how to position the container because it's limited to one again. So yeah, we have a bit of workarounds for the Buckley system, same as the example in the morning. And also for the people working really with Buckley files, there's also with the dangerous goods, you have sometimes variants of one substance, and one variant can be more dangerous than the other one. So you want to know which variant you have loaded, and that's also something that's normally not directly in the Buckley file, but again, Access as a coded variant list. And then if you use the codes from that variant list, then the program knows which variants you have loaded and how to apply the rules of that variant. So then you don't have to check all the containers, does it use the right variant? Because sometimes the default, the first variant, is not the most dangerous one. So it can be, if you just load the Buckley file and you don't check the variants, that you're not checking strict enough. So if you use the CVL, the coded variant list, then this work will be done for you. And then I'll show you one feature of the container module, that's the lashing. It was already a bit explained. I will go over it quickly. Just will show you how it's done. For example, I will add a new lashing. I will click on this corner, and you can direct where this lashing rod needs to go. And then if I turn this off again, I can click on the container to see all the calculated values. If I print, well, everything is green. Yeah, it's click and go, basically.
You have to manually apply the lashings in the program for each container.
But you can also copy
It's not an advice.
No. It's a bit of trial and error, but if Lashing does not comply, it will show either the container in red or more specific what part is not complying. So, for example,
sorry, but non-compliant according to the lashing plan, or according to maximum forces on the container?
Yeah, to the forces on the container. So if the lashing is approved as a lashing computer, then you can use it as an alternative to your lashing plan. So yeah, if your GM is different, then for example, you can sail with less lashings. So you basically start from nothing, and you will see red containers. Maybe if I delete this. Yeah, this container is now red. Click on it, like the lifting forces and the forces on the twist locks directly are too high. So yeah, then you know I have to reinforce that part of your stack. So you start with all red, all kind of red warnings, and you just add more and more till it's solved. So it's quite straightforward in that sense. And then you have the minimum lashing that is required for that trip. No, it's in the background it uses DNV Stolash. So it uses also DNV's container code. And yeah, that is how it is now. I know BV has a similar program that can be working in the background that has not been implemented yet. But for now it's DNV's program and DNV's rules.
It's only for containers, or also for the general cargo if you want them?
No, it's really container lashing. Yeah.
And is it calculating only with standard containers or also with high cubes?
Yeah, any.
And gives it as well a warning. And now you have 3 standard containers. Maybe in the model of the ship it's not allowed to put 3 high cubes. Is it a LOCOPIAS warning?
No, for the lashings it does not matter. It will just take that stack, and in the if you go back to the container module itself, then you see, for example, here in this area how much space is defined, and this is the height that is allowed for that ship. And one additional feature that's quite useful for ship owners, you can have either route-specific lashing or weather-specific lashing. So on certain routes, you can apply lower accelerations, and therefore you need less lashings, and the same applies for weather-specific lashing. When you know I have a short trip and the weather is good, then you can have exemption, or I don't know the details how you get the lower acceleration, but you can put the acceleration in the program, and then yeah, of course you can use smaller amount of lashing rods, and that's when the real advantage starts compared to the lashing manual, because that's always worst case. And yeah, with the computer you can go lower than worst case.
So weather-dependent lashing is also featured in this lashing model.
Yeah, you can put a specific acceleration factor.
Okay.
And so it will probably, Klaus will give you what acceleration factor you need to use if the sea state and the weather is okay. Any more questions?
There was just a question from the guy over there about general cargo. Now I know there is as well a company who does especially in general cargo. The complaints from the students is that they cannot see what the stability is doing. Is there any idea if there's in the future a possibility to connect these two programs? Or is it possible to connect another program to LOCOPIAS?
Yeah, in general, a lot of interfacing is possible. There is already some tools available. I don't know what program it is and what they have on their side. But yeah, it's really a hot topic these days to have interfacing. So yeah.
But maybe you've heard it's FIDEC, which is well a Dutch company.
Okay, I'm not familiar with if you have something implemented there. Yeah. Any more questions on lashing or containers in general? And I will continue. The grain module I will skip. There's not much changed there. I'll go to the general cargo module. I will not show all details, but one nice feature I like to show. I'll go to a different loading condition. I want to have an empty ship. You see all the hatch, the twin deck panels in place, and before you could move them one by one, but we have now a small but handy feature that you can, with one click, you can just move all the panels. Yeah, it's quite simple, but it.
You can predefine this yourself?
Yeah, the user can set this. So even if it's not really store position, but they just dump them somewhere in the hold, you can set that as you can save that position and then use it again later.
Also for a different loading condition?
Yeah. For example, lately we had a vessel that did not really have a store position for the hatches. Then yeah, you can give it to the to the crew and they can define it themselves and they can work with it.
You can also manually shift them like you shift the cargo?
Yeah, so like normally if I take this, I can it will snap to the predefined positions. But if I turn off the snap, I can just move it and you can, for example, put it there's even predefined height, tank top. Now it's on the tank top.
You want to stack another one, can you also do that automatically, that you stack it on top of the one that's now on the tank top?
No, really stacking is not part of the general cargo. It's yeah, we have two modules that are designed for project cargo. We have the row module, and that's really based on decks and stacking and rolling on and off cargo. And general cargo is more aimed for the bigger things that are positioned inside with all kinds of supports under it. So it's a bit of a different philosophy, but if you would deliver LOCOPIAS to a vessel with more deck oriented and stacking and putting stuff on deck, then we would deliver the other module, but it will be integrated in the future to make it one module. But now it has grown over the years to be like this. Okay. The crane module, Marco already told the definition side has been changed in PIAS. For the user, it's not really changed. It's the same module. One thing that has been developed in the background is we use a different computation library, and it's now basically has no limits to the number of elements. Like we had before, the crane could have two moving elements, like a boom and a jib, and now it can have a limitless elements. We need maybe to define some more buttons in the screen to operate it or to redesign. But if you have a weird crane or a flying jib, more moving parts, we see in inland the cranes that are on trucks, really folding cranes. Well, we have the tools available now, so that's new there.
Just one question about the pumping functionality. Can you do a lifting operation and have the pumping follow the crane? So it's like a continuous. If you move the crane a bit, ballast will change. If you move the crane further, it will follow automatically, or?
No, that's not a feature at the moment, but we have basically the tools available. So if that's something you want, that's certainly possible. We have it's the other way around for some vessels that LOCOPIAS has interfacing with both the crane and the tank measurement system, so that LOCOPIAS follows the actual state of the vessel, both in the cranes and the ballast tanks. So you can check on screen if it's still stable or if you need to stop the operation. So it's then more like a monitoring and not a planning feature. But yeah, it's with what the client wants and how he likes to use it. Icing module. It has been explained, but I'll show you. Simple click and enter a number. And the same for the side. It will add just weight to the weight list. It's quite straightforward. Below the waterline, it will just cut off the vessel, so it will only be added above the waterline. Simple as that. But then you, as a crew, you don't have to make calculations. How much weight would it be? What would be the center of gravity? It's just more simplified.
Question about this. Can you put as well an automatically standard from color code inside? Color code has a standard for icing on deck.
Yeah, but that's more or less like a design. You can handle this or that, and the loading computer is more aimed like this is the actual state. Is this okay? And
this is another way around your planning, and then you said we can put with one click on a button. Okay, this is maximum. This is ISO accreditation according polar code, and then we fulfill still our stability calculations.
Yeah, but then it's usually weights that are available in the stability booklet, and then we can use just in the weight list, select that weight that has been predefined. That's what most ships use, and then we don't sell this module, and we don't have to make the 3D model. You just put in a weight on the ship, and yeah, if that's okay, it's okay. But if you want to do something different, and you know there's 10 centimeters of ice on deck, is that okay, or do I need to start removing it? Then this is a helpful tool.
Yeah, of course it is helpful.
Yeah, there was one more thing here.
In case you have deck cargoes sailing in icy conditions, can it also be taken into account? Icing on cargo?
Not yet. Yeah, this was a start functionality designed for the Navy. So yeah, they normally don't have a lot of deck cargo. But yeah, it's quite straightforward if you have a 3D geometry of the cargo that's already available. You see it in all the modules, so it's a bit of an extension. So yeah, if we sell it and this is needs to be added, it's more or less straightforward. But we haven't made it, and to be honest, we haven't sold it a lot. So there might be handy features that can be added, the same as the standard design weights. So yeah, if you need something, we can make it, and that's in general. Yeah, if you see something and something is missing, tell us, and we can discuss making it. What is the price, etc. So, any other? The wait list is, I'll skip, it's not really new here. The cargo weight module, it's the module for draft surveys. Yeah, we redesigned it a bit to have more feedback directly on the screen. The lower part gives you more numbers directly when you're entering the drafts. Also, a nice new feature is sensor reading. So after you load your vessel, you can press sensor reading, and it will fill in the measured data from the sensors, and you can check if the planned cargo is the same as the loaded cargo. So yeah, interfacing again. Yeah, I will not give a full user training, but these are the developments here.
I ask a question as well about.
Yeah, you have.
I have a lot of questions. We use this tool for loading a ship, and if you go to the page with the overview of the ship, you printed or present the molded draft, because that's what you use for the calculations.
Yeah, here on the.
Yeah. What you use as an end user, and you do a draft survey, you do it while loading, you check your drafts, and then you want to put it over here to make a calculation. You start with an empty ship, and you want to see how much load you have already in the ship. Then you see a difference in the draft. And if you are experienced, then you know where it's come from. Is it then not easier for the end user to use only the drafts outside?
Well,
the keel from underside keel on the marks.
Yeah, on the fore and aft mark, they are on the underside keel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a industry standard to have the mean draft as molded draft. So
yeah, it's for the shiploader, but as a user, a mate will only look at the underkeel draft, or from underkeel until the draft mark.
Yeah, can make it as a setting. It's a bit of a, yeah. It's also like in the stability booklet. It's usually molded draft, and then sometimes you want to.
Drafts are mentioned, molded draft and.
Yeah, but that's the same here. If you print a report, also both are printed. So.
It's just because the functionality when you start loading with bulk cargo, then it's very interesting to use. Because then you can see, okay, I have now loaded this. I put it in my draft survey. This information I put in the empty ship, and then you can say, okay, and now I have calculated, or now I have to put 500 tons over here. Then you see exactly the figures, and then you don't have to be calculated by hand, because you can do it by yourself if you are experienced. You say, okay, I have to calculate 2 centimeters extra.
Yeah, usually it's less, but in the cargo weight module, you see, well, now it's all a different reference point because the sensors are not on the mark's position. But if I change it back to the draft mark, the reference point is also shown. And you see that the reference height is 50 millimeters below baseline, so you know it's really from the bottom. And if you then fill in a draft, for example 8 meters, then it's really from this reference position, so from underside keel. So it will give, and yeah, you have the feedback to check is this molded or not. You can check it yourself. You don't have to wonder or doubt. It's there.
Oh, can you print a draft survey report to show?
Yeah, we have two types of reports. One is basically if you want to verify if the plant's condition matches with the measured condition. So in this case, we'll give some intermediate results. In this case, the difference in displacement is quite large. And then it will give you a report. The other one is if you, that's the real draft survey that you compare a measurement before and after loading. And so you know how much cargo is loaded or discharged. And then you have to select the previous loading condition. So, and then it will compare the initial loading condition with the final, and it will calculate how much cargo has been loaded in this case. But there are multiple ways how to use this module.
Is there a bulk cargo manual available? Because this vessel, for instance, has 2 compartments to hold 1, hold 2.
Yeah.
Is there any functionality to load bulk cargos?
Yeah, bulk cargo can be loaded in the grain module. Then you can switch to bulk. So then the grain moment is not taken into account, and but it's the same.
And you can adjust the density and the.
Correct. That doesn't matter if it's grain or something else.
Something.
Yeah.
And can you trim it then as well, or because normally if you want to load the maximum amount of bulk, you use that by getting the heel correct rather than by ballast. Is there anything that you can shift the TCG a bit to one side?
No.
So it's always in the center or in the center of the boat itself.
Yeah. yeah, you could, yeah, there are some tricks if you would like to move it a bit, correct it in the weight list, if you, or with the cargo weight module that you measured the actual heel, and you can add the correction weight to the to your loading condition. So, you know, maybe 5 tons need to be a bit to the side, and it will calculate the position of the weight and also, yeah, the LCD GCD. Yeah. Normally it's just yes.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, was it answered?
Yeah, that's answered.
Yeah.
For the inland vessels, we need to leave instrument destinations.
Yeah.
And we recently noted that version numbers of the vessels became the same. I think this due to changes this morning, I thought.
Yeah.
But how can we then, find the different versions for the different vessels?
Yeah. So there are basically 3 elements in the software. It's really, one is the program, 2 are the ship-specific files, and 3 is the license file that checks if the ship-specific files are not altered or modified. Yeah, so and the program has a version date, so the combination of the revision number and the ship-specific data, that combination is only one valid combination. So you cannot put other ship files together with it. Then the license file will give an error and the program will not start.
Okay, and then the ship's specific data is the input data as an input book we receive, or is it other?
No, basically the PIAS files as you are used to.
Yeah.
So you could try breaking it by putting other files in it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to if I can find it back.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss separately. Yeah. Any more questions for now? Okay. Damages is not really. Oh, sorry, I put a lot of bulk there. So back to the main screen, there are some smaller things I like to show and to mention. Something we notice with conditions, we have also the option with file import and export. And that can be especially for ship owners, or you can install LOCOPIAS on as many computers as you like. Yeah, you can make a planning in the office and then send it to the ship, and they only have to maybe adjust the fuel levels a bit, and then they can go sailing. That kind of collaboration, is freely available, and it's nice to know. I think for all the ship owners, so I'd like to mention that. So next one is the monitoring feature. I think it's mostly beneficial for tankers, but if you turn it on, you can set an interval, for example 5 seconds, and it can interface with the tank reading system, read the levels in the tanks and make a calculation of the what you want. damage stability might take very long, so it will calculate probably longer than 5 seconds. But then in this case it will now read the tank levels every 5 seconds and make a stability calculation. So if you are with a tanker and are doing loading operations or ballast operations, you can check if it's still safe. Ballast advice was already mentioned. There are a lot of settings you can make. You can set drafts, target values, extreme values. So these are the boundary conditions, healing angles you might want to correct, etc. Number of flag tanks that are allowed, and then yeah, the optimization target that was already asked. Default is minimum of pumped water, but you can have other targets. For example, the minimum resistance. If you have the trim optimization, you can here select this as well, and it will find the optimum trim with the least resistance. And then you can select which tanks are to be used. I will not press OK, but because it can take a few minutes and that's a bit boring.
Yes. Question regarding the select tanks. Now you said you can put in how many select tanks.
Yeah.
But from practice, you never want to have a double bottom select.
Yeah.
So can you make a choice in it, or it's just all the tanks?
Well, we as SARC can in the background have more control over this, so we can, for example, say these tanks can be slack and these can't be slack, and then if you check that box, then all the tanks that are allowed by us to be slack, these can be slack. But yeah, that's we always have to find a balance between how easy it is for the user, and yeah, we can make a lot of settings, but then the user will be lost.
I have once showed with a guy who put all double bottom select to reduce the GM, so but that was not a good idea. That was why I asked.
Yeah, sometimes a small number of slack to increase comfort can help it. Okay. So next is the trim optimization. Yeah, the graph was already explained, but one extra feature I like to show, you can, with the scroll bar, you can add a range of displacements, and then it helps. Yeah, perhaps you would like to put ballast to get a better trim, but then you have a deeper draft. Yeah, then the graph is not valid anymore. So then you have an idea: will it benefit? Yeah, my vessel to put ballast.
How is that optimal trim defined? Is it a default setting or is it a user manual input?
There is a table behind it, and there can be different sources. Quite standard is the CFD calculations. So then you have these are quite expensive and long running calculations, and you need quite a database with different speeds, different trims, different drafts. So yeah, it will quickly explode. But yeah, CFD is quite normal. Otherwise, EFD, experimental fluid dynamics, so towing tank tests. Or real life measurements is also a possibility. But yeah, we need to have data, and that's the problem mostly why this is not used so often, because yeah, getting reliable data and with enough data points, that's difficult or expensive. So yeah, the tool itself is quite straightforward, but getting there is
But with new build, that must be easy.
no.
No?
It's often not done to make calculations, CFD calculations, or maybe on design draft for 2 different speeds, but not a complete data set on the full range of drafts, full range of speeds, full range of trims. So the data set is much bigger than normal design data set. So it's really a choice by the owner to extend the calculations and to invest in that.
Would be a nice student project.
Yeah. Yeah, if a ship owner has a student and he has time to make the data set, then it's quite straightforward to put it in the loading computer. I think I'm done here. We'll go back to my presentation. There's a small number of other things I like to show. One is damage control. It's also known as type 4 software. So yeah, you have a damage and you like to know what can I do to rescue the vessel. So you define the damage case, you define internal water, maybe there's some firefighting water or some pipe broke. So you have internal. Yeah, you can define fluids in all compartments, not only in the tanks. And then you press calculate, and the program will give a list, as you see, a list of solutions. It will give one tank at a time. So upon action, fill this tank or empty that one. And then the user can pick from that list. It is sorted what gives the best solution, but maybe that solution is not achievable, the pump is broken, or the pump is really slow, or I don't know. So maybe the user want to pick the second or the third option. And then yeah, you see the result, and you might iterate and improve the stability even more. But then already the first action can be put into motion. So yeah, this is the user is still in control, but yeah, the thinking can be done by the computer. Small feature in the RoRo module, snapping cargo. So if you have these defined, you can just drag and drop, and it will snap to the predefined locations, and you don't have to move it very precisely. So if you have a lot of projects that have fixed positions, then this is quite nice. It was already explained in the morning, but we integrated the sounding module in loading. So now, yeah, in the wait list, the user can make all kind of corrections, temperature corrections, or enter the measured soundings with a certain trim. So this is mostly useful for tankers with heated products. Yeah, for these kind of ships, we can also make use of external tables. These ships have usually official tank tables. Normally, LOCOPIAS make use of their own geometry, but there can be small difference with the official tables. So you can also use these tables in LOCOPIAS, so you don't have the small differences. We also changed the main GUI a bit. We can now make use of just pictures, BMP files, so any rendered graphic of the ship can be included, and it will improve the main GUI quite a bit. This is an example, and this is a more simple example, just a colored general arrangement plan, but still the level of detail is much higher than we had before. So yeah, it makes the main GUI a bit more appealing. We are working on an option to that you can have multiple screens open at the same time, and I'll just show you. In this case, the general cargo module is opened. I'll put it to the side, and then the tank module is also opened. And then if you play with the filling of the tank, you see it in the other module as well. This is quite straightforward, as you can see it, but it can be quite nice, especially if you work with cranes and you want to make ballast adjustments, etc. Now we have a small, simple version of the tank module inside the crane module, but that will be stripped out. So you have just a crane module and you have a tank module. You have all the functionalities and not a limited version. So you have full control again. So this is in development, but if you need it, you can make maybe speed it up. The license mechanism was already explained by Mark, but it's good to tell you again. Like the software has now all the functionality, and the license file says what you can do. So we can now easily update the license file and add functionality to your software without having to reapprove. The stability is calculated correctly, and you want to maybe add the draft survey module that has nothing to do with the approval, so we can just turn it on without making a new installation with a new version number. And that gives the possibility to turn on features without time consuming and expensive approvals. Then like to remind again that we can make project specific functions. A lot of clients have specific needs. Then it's nice if they come to us and say we would like this to have this feature. And then we design something and we can program it. So for example, this vessel has some features. It's a cable laying vessel. The tower can be moved. It has a specific setting. You can see in the top some extra buttons that are not standard. So the tower can be moved. It has a specific function for the winch, and also if the weight from the winch can be moved via the crane into the water. But if it's a deep sea construction site, then yeah, there's so much weight in the water that even the buoyancy of the cable can have an effect on the weight in the crane. So that can be corrected there. This kind of, yeah, that's normally not an issue, but this was also a specific project. I highlighted that there's the torsion. It has 2 hulls in the front, so we have two times longitudinal strength. There were some other things, but just an example. And this is a project that's need to be programmed. But there's a client who wants to have an automated loading tool. So you select an area like in the top, and it will just optimize the pallets that can be loaded in that area. So you don't have to puzzle yourself. So these are just some examples. Yeah, to remind you, yeah, come to us if you need something. Yeah, interfacing was already discussed a bit. Tank reading, we have a lot of experience on this area. There are a lot of interfacing standards. It's sometimes a bit of a puzzle, but we usually get there to connect the systems. Like I mentioned, the crane angles can be read. We have recently with ST shipping technology projects where we have a second instance of LOCOPIAS that's running all the time, and that's reading the tank data. It's a tanker, so the cargo is can also be measured with tank reading, and then yeah, the system is continuously checking the cargo and the stability of the vessel, and sends it to shipping technology, and they gather all the data from the ship. So and yeah, we are now also discussing with them to have a bit of a similar system, but then it's a general cargo, so you can't measure the cargo. So there needs to be a solution on that end. But yeah, that's a topic these days. You want to monitor and gather data. Yeah, we have a lot of data how to get that from LOCOPIAS to other parties and vice versa. One thing we have is XML. Yeah, you can export loading conditions. You can export things or import data. So there's a lot of options already there, but if there's a specific system, maybe we have to adjust these systems a bit to make it work. How much time do I have left? 15 minutes, right? So at the end, a few tips and tricks left. We notice sometimes we get questions about test conditions. Like the user needs to verify if the software is working properly. It's a bit of silly manual process. So the user will just get the booklet and compare the numbers with LOCOPIAS. And then sometimes surveyors from Port State or etc. say, well, make some adjustments or make these loading conditions yourself, and then see if it still gives you the right conditions. So not only printing the predefined test conditions, but making some adjustments and then check it again. And then sometimes we have differences, and yeah, it often happens that users just fill in a tank percentage, for example 90%, and then the weight is slightly off because originally there was 5,000 ton enters and it's 90.05%. And if you enter 90%, then you have slightly different weight. These are such silly differences occur. So our advice is to just enter the weight because it's in more digits in the booklet compared to the filling percentage. Yeah, so check all the data and not only the filling percentage if you have issues, and try to understand where it comes from. So there's that. And then you have some questions about type approval. Our software is type approved by Lloyd's, and we are in the process of getting type approval from DNV. But basically, as a user, you can just throw it in a bin. The type approval helps to have the software approved. The software always needs to be approved, ship specific, and if it has a type approval, then this approval process can be done quicker or cheaper. But in the end, if it's approved for that specific ship, then the type approval has no meaning anymore. And we note sometimes, yeah, the type approval has a limited validity. So after 5 years, yeah, they say, well, I have a certificate and it's past that date. Do I need to do something? Well, no, that certificate has no meaning for your vessel. That specific software for your vessel is approved, and those certificates are the only relevant things, and they have no end dates until you modify something to the software or to your vessel. So any ship owner who stores type approvals just for the software, yeah, some people they find it online or in the manual and they like to keep copies in their database, but yeah, it has no meaning basically for the ship owner. To finish off, I got on beforehand 2 questions. One by Victrol about RoRo operations. So yeah, as you noticed, we have a RoRo module, and that is basically for planning rolling cargo on the ship, but not in the process of getting it on the ship. In PIAS, we have a tool to generate loading conditions. So you define a cargo weight or a train of weights, and you set you can have it start on the quay, let it ride over ramp on the ship, and it will divided in a number of loading conditions, so you can verify every step along the way if it's stable. So if anyone needs it in LOCOPIAS, yeah, we have the tools, but it's not in LOCOPIAS yet. The other way around, in LOCOPIAS we have Ballast advice. Maybe you need it in this tool integrated. So there are some more options there, but this is what we have. Yes.
Yeah, is it possible to make an automatic ballasting? So, like, for example, position 1, where all the cargo is in K, and make a predefined ballast situation, and final position also. And then when you simulate the RORO operation, it also simulates the ballasting. It's possible, or
At the moment it's not possible, but yeah, in the background we have the tools to make such calculations, so we would need to program it. But currently it's not integrated in that way. So we have both options available, but not integrated. Yeah. The other one came from Big Lift. Yeah, was the latest on heavy lift things. So I already explained a bit about this. One addition, we programmed for some client an option to position stabilizing pontoons on different positions and different heights. So that's quite handy for these vessels. I hope, I don't know who is from Big Lift, but
Yeah, we are.
this is a bit clearer what is available and what is the latest.
Yeah, yes. We've been using this for a few vessels now, but currently only one left. And normally we use our tweeneck panels on the side as wooden pontoons.
Yeah.
But I think the principle is can be the same. It's just a little.
Yeah.
It would be easy if you have in this in the hatch configuration.
Yeah.
If you can also click a button and say I want to use this panel on the side.
Yeah.
But that's something it should be developed. I assume.
Yeah, but it's if you have this and we have the hatch covers, you can in the hatch module you can say you have, well, it's not on the ship. We can probably make an extra line, put it on the side. Yeah, I don't think that will be very expensive to make the button there. Yeah.
And I had one more question about the reporting options.
Yeah.
If you create a report from PIAS,
Yeah.
that will be a Word file or a PDF?
Well, wherever you would like to send it. I closed my demo version. So often you would print it to a preview page, and then you can send it wherever you like. With copy, I have rich text, which is formatted with pictures, yeah, basically for Word. You have plain text and tab text. That's yeah, for Excel. So you can copy it wherever you want, or you can say print and quit and print it to a PDF printer.
Okay. Have you ever done like what we currently use in the office as it's Word files, but it has a header and a footer, including some fields which are filled in later from our network?
Yeah.
Did you do that before? That you have the output from PIAS going into a template like Word format?
No.
Which includes already
predefined header and a footer?
I don't think we have that available at the moment.
No.
But yeah, you can just copy paste it and put it in that template, and then
Yeah, that's of course a solution, but it takes extra steps. So
yeah.
Our preference would be just that there's somehow the PIAS can have the report directly printed into that specific template, but that's something up for development maybe.
Yeah, maybe we could also configure this header that's configurable. So it's also an option to just configure this heading to your liking. So this is from our own template for LOCOPIAS, but yeah, you can make your own template, and it's already here in the report. So this header is configurable.
And where can you configure it, the heading?
Good question. Guido, can you answer it? I forgot. I don't often use it. I just use our standard. But I can.
In PIAS, you can do it.
Yeah, in PIAS, yeah. In LOCOPIAS, I don't think you can do it.
Well, in LOCOPIAS it's fixed because it's with our logo and LOCOPIAS and so on. But it is in PIAS you can set it yourself with a logo of your own company or whatever. It's possible. Only in PIAS. LOCOPIAS is almost like this. Yeah,
but even in LOCOPIAS, we as SARC can change it on beforehand. So if you want maybe here, I don't know, a big lift instead of SARC, it's possible. We can define it on beforehand.
For PIAS, when you output, you can print as a page or print as a row, right?
Yes.
But you always find sometimes when it's a page that because our template already has a header, and maybe it is a little high. So
yeah.
the one page when you print it will be 2 pages, for example.
Yeah, you can also set it
just
like with printer settings. You can set, for example, set it to 80%. And then it will. Look here, you have some free space now. So then yeah, it's not using the full height of the page. So you can use that and just with trial and error. Maybe for you it's 90% or whatever, but you can use this option. Any more questions?
I have a question on damageability. Is there a possibility to define a component permeability that depends on the loading condition? For example, we would use that for stores, where if you have a loading condition where the stores are full, then the permeability of the compartment of the stores is lower than when the stores are empty.
Also an issue in normal PIAS. Yeah, you have to manually adjust.
Yeah.
PIAS you can have a user-defined permeability for certain departments. Normally for long cargoes or cargo holds, then you already have different permeability depending on the filling. Maybe that's
yeah. Guido, can you tell the details?
For LOCOPIAS, it's at this moment it's not standard possible to change the permeability for demonstrability for compartments at all. But we made a tool for the Dutch Navy because they have ammunition, cargo with ammunition. They have an option to change the permeability for demonstrability, but it's specially made for the Dutch Navy, and well, of course, if it's really important, we can make something standard in LOCOPIAS itself. But then I think it will be part of a damage case, because maybe it's different for different, or maybe for maybe you have to store it in the loading condition. I don't know, but we have to think about it. But at this moment, it's not possible. The permeability which is defined in layout is used for all damage stability calculations, and it's not possible to change it in LOCOPIAS. But we can. I don't know if it's needed to have it in the loading computer.
And if you want it, because if you have a user and well, it does not comply, that's
I'm from the Navy, so that was where the question originates from. But I must say, I am not the most experienced PIAS user at the moment, but I have heard from my colleagues that I think there are still some questions open for permeability and loading conditions dependency. So I will check with them what actually is.
If you are in damage control, then the damage control option of the Dutch Navy has an option to select a particular damageability to select some state of the vessel which is used for the permeability of the component. So it's in the damage control module itself. There's an extra option in the toolbar.
Any more questions?
Yeah, about the container module. The program uses the official codes for the different types of containers.
Yeah.
And your colleague, I think it was during the first presentation this morning, he mentioned that there is also a possibility that you could like translate the client's codes into the official codes. And is that already available?
Yeah. So you have the container code conversions. So it's part of the BAPLI container code conversions, and then you can have a line and. Yeah.
Oh. Thanks.
Yeah.
You just showed the stabilizer screen. Will that also be available for the multi-screen options? Because it's been a few years, but usually it was on the main screen stabilizer.
Yeah.
You were again a little further, and also for the crane. So if you needed to change the height of the stabilizer, you also always have to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the main any screen can be viewed. Yeah, it's the main screen, to have it open there you have all the stability information, so it's quite handy to have that one open as well if you have multiple screens. And there you can set the stabilizer, so yeah.
If you have multiple windows, then it's also easier to have multiple screens also, because then you can put a window on another screen, and then it's possible to have the main screen on one the main window of on one screen, and maybe the tanks and the cranes and whatever on the other screen, and then you can use them both, and then it's easier. Because if you want to have all the windows on one screen, then it's with the trap. It's possible, but
at least that you can see them at the same time.
Yeah. Yes.
I have one more question. Before we saw the twin deck, it was placed onto one of these modules, and you could move them.
Yeah.
Is it possible to do so with project cargo or general cargo? So, like when you put it inside of the weight module, you also make an object that you can move inside of a tank module or something else.
Well, at the moment, a cargo item that has been defined in one module needs to be used in that module. We are working on to integrate that more. But currently, when I define a general cargo item, I can only move them and position them in the general cargo module. So you will see the cargo from other modules. For example, if I go back to the container loading condition, and then go to general cargo, you will see all the containers. So you know if there's space available, etc. But you cannot move the container here.
Yeah. Maybe I think I'm missing this display because I have the module with tanks,
Yeah.
the ballast tanks, but not this module with general cargo. Maybe that's a problem.
Okay, yeah, then
I
you
just have a
can
weight
check.
list and a tank list, but I don't have this screen.
Yeah.
So this looks like the tank module, but it's still the same.
Yeah, it's a different module, but in that indeed you have then graphical feedback, and that can be quite convenient. Yeah. Yes.
I just want to confirm that I'm familiar with PIAS. So PIAS have different module like all definition, loading. But for local PIAS, because it's mainly based to the crew, the protector. So all of the functions, what you are talking until now is all this one window, so not window interface.
Yeah.
So it's just this window, not like a PIAS that you can choose, right? Because you cannot set the
for LOCOPIAS, it's a loading computer for one specific ship. So all the data, the whole definition, the compartment definition is all fixed. You would not even want to allow the user to go there because it would be dangerous. Then they can maybe make the ship a bit wider. I don't know. So yeah, it's really the loading tools and all the information about stability. Yeah, the weight distribution is locked and the limits are locked. So all these kind of information, yeah. These are really tools to load the vessel and to calculate if it's safe. Any more? Or are we ready for coffee? Okay, let's go to coffee.